ZombieTech. Welcome to ZombieTech, a forum for engineers, scientists, and inventors to ponder on the technologies needed to survive the inevitable zombie apocalypse.
Geez, Eddie.
He's Whisker.
And, well, I think this week we're doing one of those things where we bring an old guest back.
Yes.
Back from beyond.
Yes.
Back from the dead. I'm a zombie.
I'm a zombie You're guest. A zombie guest. Whoa. Hi.
So this week it's Jeremy Blum.
Yes, one of our favorites.
Yeah, and he's known around here as the overachiever.
He's still known as the overachiever.
Because he's like 12 and he's done more than everybody else.
12? Wow, I've been downgraded. Seriously. That'd be kind of cool, though. I mean, 12 years old, graduated
Jeremy's
from college.
Like making plans. He's like, I'm 12 again? I can get so much stuff done before I'm 25. He would use it as an efficiency boost.
It's good to be back. Am I the first guest to appear twice, or do I not have that honor?
No,
not unfortunately. I know, but that's okay. Yeah, I think we were hesitant to ask you because you've been so busy. So
I can always make room for one of my two favorite podcasts. I listen to two. It's basically this and the Amp Hour.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh. My heart feels warm and fuzzy.
So if Dave and Chris are listening and want to have me back on,
totally.
Yes.
So you have graduated from Cornell, correct?
Yeah, I just graduated. It's very very weird. Although it doesn't feel like I'm going back there.
Okay.
In August for grad school.
Okay.
1 year electrical engineering master's. So it doesn't feel like I've graduated because I'm going to do the exact same thing. Well, not exactly the same thing, but similar stuff.
Sure.
In just a few weeks. So it's weird, but it does feel good to be graduated. I feel like I've hit a milestone where, at least if I fail miserably out of grad school or something takes a horrible turn in my life, at least I can say I have the bachelor's degree.
Right. Fair enough. And you've still been. So a couple big projects that you were working on before was you were part of the MakerBot team for the summer, and then is that still continuing? And what's all the updates on that?
Yeah, so I worked for MakerBot last summer as a fellow. I had that fellowship through Cornell.
Nice.
So I worked for them last summer, but then I continued to consult with them over the course of the school year. Not the entire school year, not consistently per se, but. So, what was the last time I was on the show? It must have been, last September or something, right?
Yeah, it's been over.
Last September.
So it was before the release of the Replicator, which is the newest MakerBot.
Right. Yeah.
So, I worked there over last summer, but after I was working there over the summer and I went back to school, I continued to consult with them. And for all the viewers who watch the EEV blog, he just did a video teardown today.
Yeah.
Of his replicator, which MakerBot just recently sent him, and I designed the electronics for that.
It's a direct reflection on your work.
So one ZombieTech guest spent the day making fun of another ZombieTech guest's work.
I had to send him a tweet when I realized he had the replicator. I was like, "Oh man, Dave, you gotta go easy on me. You've been doing this for a lot longer than I have." But no, for the most part, his review is pretty positive. A couple complaints about the fans and stuff like that, but mostly pretty good. So I did that over the course of the school year. The beginning of the school year in the winter. And then I did some other work for them, a few assorted, tasks over the course of the year. And I'm back working there this summer.
Okay.
So I've been there this summer doing all kinds of fun stuff. The company's grown a lot, which everyone knows. It's kind of fun. I'm there half-time this summer. I'm working there in the afternoons because I'm also teaching a 6-week class to high school students called Blue Stamp Engineering. This is the second year they've done it. So I've been doing that for the last 6 weeks. This is actually the last week of it. I'm very sad. But it's been a lot of fun. A lot of really great students doing awesome projects.
So listeners, you remember what we were saying about overachievement? Good example.
Hey, you want to talk about overachievement, you should look at, what some of the kids in the class are doing. They're doing some awesome stuff. They know way more than I did when I was their age. It's almost scary. So I can't wait to see what things they're going to do in the future. If you think I do cool stuff, just wait to see what they do.
But you take the initiative, because there's always opportunities, and it's a matter of whether or not people actually take them, and actually go for them and work at them.
we of course say these sorts of things half jokingly because so many people that are on this show are doing so much stuff.
At the
But
same
we get really
time.
excited talking to people, especially younger people, who take the initiative to go out there and do stuff to try to change the world for the better.
Tutorials.
Yeah, and that's, so many people are just not making that decision in their life. So when somebody does, we sort of maybe go a little over the top,
We're
giving
all
them
about it.
props for it. But yeah, we totally approve.
Yes, we do. And then the other project I think you were doing was the sustainability research facility.
Yeah, I'm still doing stuff with that. So I mean, part of the reason why I actually decided to go back to Cornell for my master's so I could continue working on some of this stuff. So
I was going to say, did you have to pay anybody off for them to allow you to graduate? Because I know they probably look at you as a pretty good resource.
There were a lot of people that are going to be happy to have me there next year, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe some people who are like, get out of here already and go do something else, but we'll see. No, yeah, I'm still involved with it. I'm excited to say that I passed off the official leadership of it to 4 or 5 younger students at the end of this past year.
Okay.
And they're doing an absolutely phenomenal job. I'll be returning as kind of like director emeritus / advisor.
Nice.
So I'll still be involved. And what I'm looking forward to doing is, so for those who are listening who aren't familiar with it, basically it's this organization that does design build projects, student-led. So we recently finished this schoolhouse in South Africa, where we're currently working on a project in Nicaragua, which I don't think we had even started yet the last time I spoke with you guys.
Nope.
So we're working on that. They just did a site visit down there recently this summer. And then we're building a research facility on Cornell's campus to research sustainable energy technologies and kind of the intersection between sustainability research that happens in a lot of different fields. So like social sustainability and analyzing like the sociology of how people interact with buildings never really crosses over with solar energy research, but there's actually a lot of important overlap. So doing things like that. But what I'm excited for is, so, many years ago when I was doing the solar decathlon, which was, precedent to that, and I was designing control systems for solar-powered homes, that to me was cool because it was really technical and I got to get hands-on. But then when I started CU Sustainable Design, I was very much an administrative role. Like I had to make sure all the gears were turning and stuff, and I didn't really do any technical work anymore. So next year, I'm excited to get back into doing like some of the technical stuff because I've handed off a lot of the administrative operations of the organization. So like we were recently awarded an EPA grant at the end of last semester that I'll be working on. So that'll actually be like part of my graduate research. So I'll be able to overlap those pretty nicely and doing things like that. So I'm really excited for it.
Nice.
And listeners, check the description on the show. We'll be dropping links to all this stuff in there so you can see photos and all that. They do a pretty good job documenting.
Yep. And actually, last time we had talked, there were 2. I guess it was Cornell and maybe is it Stanford or one other city.
Oh, they hadn't
even made the decision.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was earlier. So, so that was a crazy story. So, this I'm really excited about, especially because I'm in New York right now and I'm helping with it to a degree. And we're actually working out of Google headquarters for the next 5 years until we get a tech campus on Roosevelt Island set up. So I went down to Google a few weeks ago, and I have some friends who worked on the campaign with me who are working there full time over the summer to get stuff running.
Nice.
But for those who don't know, basically Mayor Bloomberg of New York basically wants to make New York City the next Silicon Valley. So he put out this bid to build like a world-class tech campus on Roosevelt Island, and Cornell won the bid. I was part of the group of students who was advocating for it. So we were up against Stanford the last time we spoke, and Cornell won in, I guess it was mid-December. I don't remember the exact date. Or was it in January? I don't even remember.
Somewhere in the winter.
Somewhere in the winter. I don't know. The winter all blurs together to me. It's not the point. The point is we won. And so, over the course of the next 30 years, they're building this, they're basically taking over the southern half of Roosevelt Island and building this tech hub that's going to be a graduate research facility. It's going to be spectacular and amazing. They got $100 million from the city, and then an individual donor gave $350 million.
Wow.
It's just like going to be crazy awesome. I'm super excited for it. But it was funny. I was back at MakerBot working. I was working at MakerBot over my winter break, and I got a call that was like, all right, you got to. I think it was actually my first day back. and I got a call. I was like, you gotta get uptown to the Upper East Side like right now. So I had to go home, put like a suit on, and go uptown to Weill Medical College, which is the Cornell Medical School on the Upper East Side, and it was a press conference from Mayor Bloomberg announcing the winner. So it was cool. I was sitting in the front row, right in front of the mayor, me and a bunch of other people taking photos and stuff for the announcement. It was a tremendous amount of fun. I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. I almost wish I was like 5 or 6 years younger so that I could have gone to graduate school there. But that's probably not going to happen.
You're 12, remember?
Right, I'm 12.
The world is your oyster.
I know.
I know a guy who could probably arrange this.
Who?
You know, forge some documents. Maybe just make sure you shave really, really good.
I don't know if I want to go back to being 12. You know, passing the 21 mark was a lot of ways.
It was useful to your social life.
Useful, yeah. Let's put it that way. Made me really good at networking. And so I don't know if I want to go back below that threshold. That was a good one.
So okay, so this tech campus is linked with Cornell. So it's an extension of Cornell, or is it like completely separate, like a separate university?
So it's kind of somewhere in between. So I mean, it is part of Cornell. Okay. It's meant to supplement the Cornell Ithaca campus, and it's actually also a partnership with the Technion, which is an Israeli university. I don't remember the exact statistics, but I'm pretty sure that the Technion per year produces more patents than all of Europe, or something ridiculous. It's something ridiculous. That might not be exactly accurate, but basically it's like the powerhouse.
Sure, think tank of sorts.
Any major technological development that's coming out of Israel is probably coming from the Technion.
Wow.
So a big part of what it's going to be is going to be the Cornell Technion Innovation Institute, I believe is the name, which is this graduate program it's going to be very much about like merging engineering and entrepreneurship. And focusing on the entrepreneurship opportunities in New York City, which are expanding rapidly, and connecting graduate students with people around New York who have startups and things like that. And it's going to be very kind of hands-on and a new approach to what it means to take the next step from just being an entrepreneur or just being an engineer, and kind of combining those things.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they'll have like a hackerspace side to it?
I'm sure. That's
so exciting.
I mean, a big part of the commitment was also educating K through 12, so that'll be a big part of it. And also, since we spoke last time, I started kind of a co-working space in Ithaca, and part of the ideas of that will be translated to New York City Tech Campus, and that's stuff we're working on right now.
Awesome. So this co-working space, tell us a little about it.
Yeah, so basically, I guess it was spring break. Or right before we started, right after spring break, right before spring break.
Most people on their spring break manage to get trashed a couple of times, and Jeremy manages to start a co-working facility.
I don't want to give myself too much credit. I actually took my first real spring break ever. This spring break, and went on a cruise in the Caribbean. So I did zero work on this during my spring break. It was all beforehand. I do take breaks. It is important. And so
I can hear the guilt in your voice when you say it. It's
it's bad. And there was no cell phone service on the boat. You have no idea how horrifying that was for me. It took me like 3 days to get over like having a panic attack and not having access to my email.
Well, that's why they make so much money for the pay per minute internet that they have on board.
When Jeremy gets behind on his email, it's an event on Twitter that goes on for like 3 days. He's like, I'm down to 200,000 emails. I'm down to 100,000 emails.
It's true.
I tried it a few days ago and failed miserably. I cleared out one of my inboxes, but the other one still has like 200 or 300 on it that I'm totally behind on. So for everyone who sent me an email, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Anyway,
so like Ithaca's like home base for you, right?
Well, yes and no. I mean, so yes, because I go to Cornell, but I'm pretty sure that once I'm done with grad school next year, I don't plan to stay in Ithaca.
You'll be moving into the city?
Probably New York City, but I'm not ruling out other options. If anyone wants to offer me a job elsewhere, I'll consider the possibility. So we'll see. Or if I decide I want to start something elsewhere. I don't know. But back to the pop shop, that's what the co-working space is called. So basically like 9 or 10 of us from all around the university, all different majors and stuff, which is kind of cool, came together and we were talking about entrepreneurship on campus and how it's like very disjointed. And this is the case at most universities. There's like people doing different things, but none of them really know each other. And like especially at Cornell, there's like engineers who have ideas, and then
Mm-hmm.
or engineers who have really good technical knowledge, and then the business people who have really good ideas, or vice versa, and people even in the arts and doing all kinds of things that you don't think of as traditional tech startups, but are still very much viable startup ideas or business ideas,
Mm-hmm.
don't like to talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking, okay, how can we fix this? And so we basically pitched this idea to what is the existing entrepreneurship group, and we said something along the lines of, we want to like try something totally new and ridiculous. And for some reason, they were like, okay. It didn't hurt that one of the students with us was like technically working for them at the time, so he was able to pull some strings.
Sure.
A friend of mine, Jesse, and so we were like, let's do this thing called, we're going to call it a pop-up shop. So we called it the Pop Shop for short. And we said, let's, 2-month experiment. We're going to open a storefront and make it into a co-working space / hacker space / incubator sort of thing.
Cool.
And put it right in the middle of where all the students live, which is called College Town. And so we did it. There was actually a tobacco shop that went out of business right before us, and we were able to get the space for a while. And so we opened it up, and it like immediately was a huge success, like way more than we thought it would be. And alumni started to get interested and like wanted to support it. And long story short, it's more or less a permanent fixture now. It's not just a 2-month experiment.
That's amazing. So like, what does it do? Like someone comes in and they consult with a whole bunch of different people, or?
It's kind of open-ended, which is why it's interesting. So the first key thing about it is that it's not a hacker space. We don't have like laser cutters, and actually my 3D printer is in there, or was in there, so we have that. But other than that, it's not like a place to come and use tools.
Sure.
It's like more like an idea generation space. So there's this big long table in the middle. The whole top of it's a whiteboard. All the walls are painted with whiteboard paint. You just like write all over everything. One of the guys, this guy, Scott Belsky, founder of Behance, which is a startup in New York, and a Cornell alum, donated Idea Paint to us, which is what he used to make the walls into whiteboards, which is super fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just a space for people to come together who are working on cool things, but haven't really made the right connections or don't know the next step, and to collaborate with other people. And so what we've found is just having this physical space. You don't even have to do a whole lot of programming to it or make it special. People come in and just sit around and talk and just generate ideas that are spectacular. And it's weird. I frankly didn't expect it, but that's what ended up happening. And so, I mean, we have guest talks. We invite people in to give talks, and we'll lead workshops. So like I led a workshop on taking an idea from conception to like product, and one on manufacturing. But people have led workshops on how to court venture capital, how to do all kinds of things.
So can I ask something as a devil's advocate?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between, say, that and a room in the library?
Right. Okay. So this is something that we were thinking about very carefully, and something we very strongly say in the space is like, this is not a space to come in and do schoolwork. Like, this is not a space to come in and sit quietly and work. Nor is it like a cafeteria at Cornell or wherever, like an atrium type of space where you might come and talk to people. This is a space where we want ideas to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between this and a library is, first off, the collaborative nature and the fact that it's not a quiet space at all. Like, this is not the place to come and do individual work. The other aspect of it that's kind of cool is we have this sort of like mentorship network going in, where we have some of the students who have started companies or are already working on businesses in there working and kind of trading off ideas with you. And it's a good place to bounce things off of. And so what you get is this conglomeration of people with not necessarily similar interests, but similar goals of what they want to be able to accomplish, working together, which you don't get in any other space. And the coolest thing has been, and part of the reason why it's not like a library is libraries are specialized. There's like an engineering library, there's an agricultural library.
So this centralizes everything.
Yeah, and the best part about that is you get people working together who would not ordinarily work together. So like my last semester, I worked in a business plan with 2 hotel school students and an industrial labor relations student on a startup idea.
It's completely random.
Exactly, it's like completely random, and not people who I would ordinarily work with. But through the space, it made a lot more sense, and we were able to do work in there. And there's tons of examples of that. There's a lot of social entrepreneurship stuff happening in there. It's not just like a bunch of people sitting in the room programming. or a bunch of people sitting in the room like using table saws. It's not a hacker space. It's like an idea space.
Yeah, it sounds like it works sort of. I mean, other than it being like a physical space, and there's a lot of obvious academic types around, centralized around it. It sounds a bit like the Toymakers IRC channel. It's a place where people come to they have an idea, they may not know exactly the best way to approach it because it involves a couple of topics that they may not be experts on, but it's a place where experts hang out.
Yeah, that's a very good way to describe it.
I was going to think of it as speed dating, but I mean, that's because I'm a chick, I suppose. Cool. Okay. So, what's one of the most striking things that have come out of the pop shop? Which, by the way, is a really cool name.
I know, it's awesome. Oh, you want to hear something even better? The web URL is popright.in.
Ah, cute.
Love it.
I like it.
Anyway, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff going in there. There's a couple I can mention. One of the groups that's working in there over the summer now, so him and a team of students from Cornell basically decided to stay, I think, over the summer and work in the pop shop on this idea. It's a smartphone laser tag system. So they're basically building laser tags that you mount your smartphone onto, and they have GPS. They can track each other. You fire these smartphones you fire these guns at each other, these laser tag guns, and it registers on the smartphone that you've been hit, and it shows your health, and you can choose weapon types and all kinds of cool stuff. And they're building these actual things. And there's a team of 15 of them, I think, working on that right now.
Sounds like fun.
It's very fun. There's another startup that did a little bit of work out of there called Amp Cloud. They actually, he's a friend of mine. He just graduated. He actually moved out to San Francisco and is starting on working this up as a company now. It's basically like a crowdsourced jukebox. So a bar would be running Amp Cloud. You walk in, you go to the Amp Cloud app on your phone, and people in the bar can add and upvote and downvote songs that play in the bar that night.
Okay. All right.
It's very cool. We actually we used it in the pop shop a lot to allow people to choose the music that was playing. Whenever I held house parties the last semester, it's a pretty cool service, and there's at least 15 or 16 other things that are working out of there in some regard. One other I'd like to mention is there's social entrepreneurship stuff going on as well. So there's a group at Cornell called the Everyone Campaign, which is a kind of a effort to increase knowledge about sexual assault on college campuses. Mm-hmm. So they're working out of there, and they're working on starting up. They started as an organization at Cornell last year, and they're working on revving it up into a nonprofit now, nice. To go across the country. And they've been doing a lot of work out of there. I've been working with them on some of their website stuff personally, but their mission is great, and so it's not just a tech space. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on in there.
Awesome. Good job to you and to the other folks who set this up. That's a really good idea, actually.
8 or 9 of us who kind of put it together, and everyone, it's a great team to work with. It's been a lot of fun.
I hope you guys at least have soda there or pop.
Okay. We actually, as part of the gimmick for calling it the pop shop, we bought a popcorn machine.
Nice.
We've been doing popcorn, and we've got the mini fridge and all that good stuff. As long as people keep it neat.
Yep. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, college students aren't really known for keeping
things is keeping the place clean. It's a battle, an uphill battle.
Yep.
Yeah, don't they do the whiteboard or chalkboard walls for small children these days too? Because they make such a mess, you might as well make it so they can draw on the walls. Is that the general approach to interfacing with the student body there? Let them draw on the walls?
What's the difference between a college student and a 5-year-old? I would say very little.
More privileges?
Yeah, maybe a few more privileges. Maybe they shouldn't have all those privileges. They're creative. They want to do the first thing that pops into their mind, and they like to draw on the walls. Yep. So it's all the same thing.
So on top of being part of the group that got this new tech campus on board, and on top of being part of the sustainability research facility, and on top of graduating and getting accepted into the master's program,
and working at MakerBot,
and working at MakerBot, you have you have also started your own company, which like you pretty much just tweeted today, which is just a fortuitous happenstance.
It's kind of I wouldn't say I've started my own company yet per se. I would say I've put a name on something I've already been doing, which has been doing kind of engineering and multimedia consulting. So the videos I do for Element 14, I just recently started doing some for CADsoft too, is the company that makes Eagle CAD schematic design, and a couple of other companies that I've been in talks with that I can't go into, but other things that I've been working on, and individuals. Sometimes I've done consulting for individuals working on tech ideas and things like that, and also how I do the consulting. The stuff I do for Blue Stamp Engineering, that high school program, is through this anyway. So it's just like basically on the invoices, instead of putting Jeremy Blum, I want to put an actual name on there now.
Sure.
So the name I came up with today over dinner and bought immediately after was Blum Idea Labs. So that's what's gonna go on the invoices. Other than that, I don't know if I can call it a company yet. It's just when people want to pay me to make videos.
Yeah.
Something I can do to look slightly more professional, I guess.
Sure. Now, what's with all the different what's it called? Different commitments. All the different commitments that you have. What's the most difficult thing about getting into like your consulting work? Or does it all just kind of it's all the same, like
it's tough because I can usually, like, a lot of the videos that I do when I'm contracted for videos and stuff, or more so, companies will sometimes like send me parts to evaluate where I'm not getting paid by the company, because that wouldn't be okay. For me to get paid by a company, then just I obviously have to give them like a positive review, so I don't do that, of course.
Sure.
But the tough thing is sometimes, like, or at least recently, I've been getting stuff sent to me faster than I can do things with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the same problem around here.
I can tell. I mean, and you guys release videos way faster than I do, or way more frequently at least. And that's what falls by the wayside first, which is tough because it's one of the things I like doing the most, but it's also by far the most time consuming. I mean, so one of the more recent videos that I released, which was a tutorial on making a GPS tracker, I mean, that was like a month of work. I mean, not straight, but I conceptualized the idea a month ago, wrote the code, over the course of that week, and then I had to debug it. And because it was GPS, I constantly had to go outside and like walk around the city to try to test it and come back. And then inevitably find it didn't work, and then it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I had to do it the next day, and stuff like that. It just takes a really long time. And I think that video was like 45 minutes, something. I'm approaching EEV blog length here for my
yeah.
Which I don't necessarily like making that long, but sometimes when you got to get all the information across, you just got to get all the information across, and it takes a really long time to make that and then edit it, because I watched the whole video like 3 times before I put it online.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, that's what I do every week, so I feel your pain.
Have the same problem. It's tough, and I'm pretty sure Dave has mentioned before, like, he doesn't watch his videos usually before he posts them. He just like finishes editing, hits render,
right.
And I'm like far too anal to do that.
Sure.
So yeah, it's just it's a huge I love doing it, but it's a huge time sink.
Yeah, you kind of have to watch it because the editor sometimes will do silly things to it that you didn't tell it to, like it just doesn't show the picture for the video on this little clip, and unless you watch it ahead of posting it, you'll get 10 comments of people going, "You're stupid."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people have a tendency not to realize how much effort goes in. I mean, I'll spend hours like touching up the audio, like removing background noise from the audio, just making like minor adjustments to the video, fixing tiny little glitches that probably no one else would notice but me. But I want it to be good, and that takes a long time.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to do it that way, unfortunately. But we do what we can with the time that we have.
Right. And yeah, I mean, you guys do a great job.
Yeah, I know we're really cool and everything, but so
and humble.
With your consulting thing, are you thinking about actually like filing as a business or anything like that?
I'm contemplating it. We'll see. I haven't really decided. Like, this is literally something I decided like 6 hours ago that I was just gonna start putting a new name on the invoices and maybe get some cards that don't just say Jeremy Blum. What I might do from that, we'll see. I think more likely if I'm gonna do that, I might wait until I've graduated and I know exactly. I've graduated from my master's next year and I know exactly like what's next and how much time I'm gonna have and what exactly I'm gonna be doing.
Why don't you work for Valve?
So I wouldn't, we'll see.
Oh. There's an awkward silence there.
That's something that would be interesting to me.
That wouldn't surprise me, considering how many people that have been on this show and friends of the show have been snapped up by them lately. It wouldn't surprise me at all, and you'd be in good company over there.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I have spoken to Jerry about Valve, but I've got another year of graduate school, so I have no decisions for what I'm doing afterwards.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we talked about last time you were on the show is whether or not you'd be done with school after this last go and be so excited to get into business, or if you'd want to stick around and get yet another degree, just as sort of an academic safety net.
It was a tough call, but I mean, what it came down to in the end is, so I really liked what I'm doing now, especially being in New York and I'm doing all kinds of awesome stuff. But I wanted the advanced degree at some point. I have the momentum now, so I kind of just want to do it. There's still stuff I want to do at Cornell. There's research opportunities I have, like that EPA grant I mentioned, and some other stuff in the lab that I'd previously been working in. And so I want to keep pursuing that, and then it'll give me some time, especially now with the pop shop established, to contemplate the opportunity for me to start something of my own. Mm-hmm. And I'll have the course of the next year to decide if I want to do something like that. And frankly, I don't know what that thing would be, but I have an extra year to decide now. So
sure,
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Sure. Now, on a side note, because we were just talking about like getting paid and reviewing items, I personally don't think it's a conflict of interest as long as you let them know that you will give both the good and the bad.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. And I mean, I have to do that anyway because usually I get the parts for free, and that already is like you have to, that can be conceived as some form of payment since I usually got to keep them. Or actually, I've always gotten to keep them. So yeah, no, I agree with you. It's not unreasonable to do it. The nice thing that I like, with a lot of my more recent Arduino tutorials, I've been using modules from a company called Cooking Hacks.
Tutorials for Arduino.
Sorry, tutorials for Arduino.
I don't want to have to edit the show, Jeremy.
Arduino trademark. And so I've been using modules from Cooking Hacks, and they've been sending me modules, and I've been it's kind of worked out conveniently where they gave me some free stuff. I got to make a video with it. They used it as a tutorial for them. I was doing the videos on behalf of Element 14 so they could put them on their website and build their community and things like that, and it kind of just worked out for everyone, and it was like perfect. So that's been great, and I still have like a bunch more sitting around that I want to do videos with, but I only have so much time.
I think we're going to be doing something like that with Make. They put us on the Make beta team or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
We got to figure out how to get onto their Google groups.
So when are you guys going to quit your day jobs and just start doing this full time?
Well, I'm doing it full time already. It'll be a while before it's to the point where we would consider having Addie not be a nurse. It's paying enough to build up a really cool studio.
Right.
And once we have a really cool studio, I think the potential is there to, do very good things. So
save up the
I think it's worth doing. I took a big pay cut to stop doing what I was doing to do this. But at the end of the day, I'll have something that I can do a lot of good with. So on that thing, I think the social balance of it, is much better because what I was doing before was profitable, but I wasn't doing as much good for mankind.
Right. No, I think that's an admirable. It's a tough decision to make. Something decision a lot of people. I think a lot of people more and more are making, especially as at least I'm seeing more and more engineers going to startups instead of taking potentially higher paying jobs coming out of college.
Yeah, life isn't all about the money. I mean, if you've got food in your belly and you got a roof over your head, you can, you're in a position to maybe not just do something, but do something good, I think that's a very tempting thing. If you're that kind of person, some people just want a fancy car.
Right. I'd like to, do some good and also have a fancy car. Maybe something with some LEDs in it or something. I don't know. Lots of lights.
You have done a lot.
Night Rider. Yeah.
So if I make like $1 million, I'd probably invest $1 million in like a zombie bunker or something crazy like that.
And that actually is an excellent segue because I was interested in what projects you've been working on for like sustainability and all that.
Yeah, so I mean, my largest sustainability oriented stuff has still been through CUSD. So there's a lot of that same stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kind of innovative research in building controls that we've been doing. I'm excited about. Some of I can't talk in too much detail about the EPA grant because I don't think it's been officially announced yet.
Okay.
But the gist of it is working on making new efficient means of lighting for buildings, using daylighting as a supplement to normal electric lighting.
Yeah, we have those here. They're called windows.
Yes. So basically, I'll be making windows next year.
Nice.
I'll be making really advanced windows. Let's leave it at that.
So have you seen the cement blocks where they put fiber optics in the cement? Isn't that so cool?
It's very cool. Part of what I'll be working with will be some fiber optic.
Nice.
So it should be fun. I don't know all the details of it yet myself even. We're still working some things out, but that'll be fun. So I'm excited to do some of that stuff. And then me and a friend made a sun tracking solar panel a few months ago. So that was like
Helio Watch, I think it was.
Helio Watcher, yeah. That was kind of like our final ECE project. So it ended up being a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, as these things usually do. But it was fairly complex. The idea was so it's like a 40-watt solar panel and a control system. I actually used the motherboard that I designed for the MakerBot replicator as the motherboard for this thing. It just kind of conveniently had a lot of the same features that I needed. And the idea was you just kind of drop it anywhere, deploy it. It figures out where in the world it is, what time of day it is. It orients itself towards the sun automatically, compensates for shading from either buildings or clouds by adjusting, kind of dynamically including GPS information. And then tracks the sun over the course of days, weeks, months, whatever. And adjusts and logs data in such a way that you're able to determine in that particular location in the world what is the ideal solar panel positioning to gather the max sunlight over the course of a year. And the reason why that's cool is because there's plenty of systems that will move a solar panel to track the sun, but in almost no circumstances does it make sense to do that. You lose more energy moving the motors than you do gain by aiming it more directly at the sun. So the idea behind our system wasn't necessarily to be something that you deploy and it's like the be-all and end-all, but it's more like an analytics system. So, for example, in Ithaca, it tends to rain more in the morning. So it might make sense to have the panel, normally you would orient a panel like due south, 10 or 15 degrees off of whatever your latitude is. But maybe in Ithaca, it makes more sense to actually aim it a little bit to the west because you tend to get more sunlight in the afternoons, and that ends up counteracting the rain that you tend to get in the morning and things like that. So getting kind of long-term data is what we were doing. And that ended up, that was a really fun project. Actually, the most annoying part of the whole project was we had this compass sensor on it to detect which way it was facing. God, I could not have estimated how hard it is to deal with interfering magnetic fields. It's impossible.
Yes, I completely agree.
It's terrible.
I completely agree. I stuck my compass on top of like a simple RC servo, and the thing still like freaked out. And
you can't even put it near a metal wire.
I was like, "What? Come on!"
Yeah, it's terrible. So what we ended up doing was we had a bunch of nails, ferrous iron nails that were holding the base of this thing together. We noticed that it deflected the most over those nails, which makes sense because they're deflecting the magnetic field. And so our thought was, okay, we're just going to screw the X and Y axis trying to detect compass rotation, and we're going to instead use the Z axis of the magnetometer and intentionally put more nails underneath it, spaced equally around the radius of this thing, and have the z-axis of the magnetometer detect when it's over the nails and do dead reckoning based on its initial position. So if you always start it off over, nail 0, and it knows that's turned 15 degrees to the west, there's a nail every, 10 or 15 degrees, whatever it was, I don't remember. And so it'll turn until it finds the first nail, based on the change in the magnetic field in the z-axis. So we ended up using it like totally not in the way it was intended at all, but it was the project was due like the next day, and it was like, okay, we have this base, it's already nailed together, it's not coming, we can't take the nails out, so let's just put more nails in and make the problem much worse and then deal with it like that. And it ended up, it was not perfect, but it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm doing something kind of similar with magnetic sensor in my big robotic camera jib I'm designing for the studio here.
Flying around the ceiling.
Yeah, and to
I don't know, man.
To
I think
detect which direction the boom is currently rotated to,
cool.
left or right, I'm putting a magnet right next to one of those sensors.
Okay.
So I've got a really strong magnetic field there, and I won't have to worry so much about the interference and weirdness that happens with the compass modules per se.
Oh, cool. Is there a reason why you're doing that instead of just like a reed switch?
I need to be able to know where it is no matter where it is. On the ends, it'll also have reed switches that let it know that it's at the end of its travel.
Cool.
Yeah, I also didn't expect so much trouble with the compass.
Now, John Cohn,
wires.
a previous guest, the guy who was on the Colony TV show on Discovery.
They made one of these.
He made a solar tracker, but he just used a couple of cadmium cells separated by pieces of cardboard or something, facing in slightly different directions.
We actually did that too. So we had we were using GPS to and with if you know your position, you know the time, you know where the sun should be. It actually is a relatively complex math problem, more difficult than I thought it would be. It actually ended up being something that was hard to do with high enough precision on an 8-bit microcontroller. With when you get into all the floating point calculations.
We actually implemented something similar, a virtualized version of it at my previous job. So I'm a little bit familiar with how nasty the math can be.
Yeah, it gets surprisingly tough, and especially also if you don't know your time zone, and there's a UTC offset and satellites, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff. But we supplemented it with the same kind of thing you're talking about, which is like a quadrature of LEDs, and you separate them so that there's 4 of them, and they're separated from each other. Although what we did, instead of kind of like our prototype had cardboard in between them, but then what we ended up doing is we just mounted one on each side of the solar panel and kind of faced them outwards, and you can get an idea of where the most sunlight is coming from based on which LED is receiving the most light. Because LED is in reverse, just a light detector. And so you can see basically where the light is coming from. That allows us to do some dynamic adjustments on the fly, but you have to compensate and be careful, because compensating too much just ends up wasting a lot of energy, and it's not worth it. So it was more so like to deal with temporary shading, things along those lines. But that actually worked out pretty well, and it was just an excuse for me to use the maker bot to print out some holders to hold them in place.
So a lot of the listeners on this show are somewhat interested in efficiency of this sort of thing in the context of a disaster of some sort. Is trying to cobble together this sort of system really, how much of a boost is it to your efficiency?
Oh, absolutely not worth it. In the event of global catastrophe and we have no power and our only choice is to use solar panels, you are much better off sticking a solar panel, putting it at the angle of declination equal to your latitude, and maybe adjusting it up and down a little bit winter and summer to deal with the sun being higher or lower in the sky, and maybe once a day go outside and move it to left or right a little bit. In the event that's like what we have to do to have power, it's not going to be worth it to make an electric system to track the sun. What you can do is there are 1 degree freedom passive tracking systems that are pretty cool. So they won't track it up down, but I believe they'll track it east west. And
so they just move it like with sunrise, sunset.
Right, but it's completely passive, so it'll do something along the lines. I don't remember exactly how they work, but it's basically heating up some kind of chemical in a tube, that cause it to evaporate and move to the other end, and it changes the weight distribution, and so the panel shifts as a result.
Oh, that's cool.
And towards the end of the day, the sun moves and it shifts in the other direction and things like that. That makes a lot more sense than the control system that we devised. Ours was mostly designed to be, for analytics and to gather data over a large amount of time.
Yeah, when you said it was passive, the first thing that popped into my head was those coils that you see in thermostats sometimes, where they'll have two metals sandwiched next to each other, and the heat expands them at different rates. So the coil, the spiral, will get bigger and smaller as the temperature changes. You could use that sort of thing to detect, but I don't think it would have enough force to actually move anything.
Yeah, you might have to go through some mechanical gearing or something to get that to actually do something useful, and that might almost be more trouble than it's worth.
So then that makes me wonder, the home automation systems where they, and this came up a lot, overwhelmingly so, I suppose, in the Chip Kit project, the Chip Kit challenge. It was a contest, and I think 80% of the people were like, I'm going to make a home automation system that measures, energy usage of my home and will adjust things accordingly. Do you think that type of system would have a significant effect?
Okay, that I do. Okay. I mean, it depends on what you're adjusting. So I can give you the example of, and not just saving energy, but more importantly, controlling grid energy usage and how much you're paying. So a good example is electricity costs more during the day. Or during certain times of the day, during peak load hours. So one thing that I did when I was working on the solar house was we had a house-wide smart circuit breaker that could analyze, how much does it cost for electricity right now, which correlates directly to how much load is there on the electrical grid, and how much energy are you using in your house. What are you using that can potentially be moved to another time of the day to be more efficient? So, a perfect example is doing a load of laundry. Those machines take a lot of electricity, and if you put the load of laundry in at 3 p.m. and it happens to be peak demands and everyone's running their air conditioners because it's daytime out in summer and it's super hot, electricity prices are high, and the demand on the grid is also high. And this is part of the reason why electrical companies are getting interested in installing smart thermostats where they can control your thermostat remotely.
Whoa.
It's becoming a big thing now. Yeah. And that the reason being for that is when electricity companies have to spin up another generator to compensate for really high loads in the summertime, that drastically increases costs, and it frequently ends up kind of being a waste of energy. Because once a generator is going, that generator is going, it's producing energy regardless of how much of it is being consumed. So if they have to spin it up, that's a lot of energy that can theoretically be going to waste, and also increases your prices. So if all of the homes that are consuming energy are smart enough to balance appliances across them that are running non-critical functions, things like cycling your air conditioner at a different speed, changing when your load of laundry runs to be during the evening instead of during the middle of the day, stuff like that, can not just make a difference in your electricity costs, but can actually affect the entire grid if enough people do it, enough homes are smart enough. And a big part of that is going to be just people being smart and having the knowledge. A lot of studies have shown that people are way more likely to save energy and turn off their lights if, let's say, for example, when they're walking out of their home, there's a screen next to the door that says 3 of your lights are on. If you're out for the next 3 hours, this will cost you $4.07 electricity.
Yeah.
People respond, unfortunately, most people don't give a crap if they're killing the environment or using too much electricity. But when it starts affecting their wallet, they really care.
Right.
Or when they at least have an understanding
of the effects,
what it means. Just right. When you get a power bill, right? It says you used 20 kilowatts of electricity this month. No one has any conception of what 20 kilowatts of electricity is. Right. They have no idea what that means. But if you put it in terms that they understand, namely dollars and cents, then they're more likely to adjust their habits and be more sustainable.
Sure. So then the home automation units that you guys are designing, are you taking into are you going to be adding that feature in, you've got 3 lights on, this will cost you $4, whatever?
I think the most important function of any automation system is to inform the user. So, it's great if lights turn in when you walk in the room and they turn off when you walk out of the room. It's nice for that experience to be seamless, but I think it's almost more important for the information about how your home is or your building or whatever is consuming energy to be displayed to you in a relevant way.
More context.
Yeah, because a more informed person is just more likely to be responsible.
Sure.
So it's not just about making it seamless for people, but it's also about making it so that there's an understanding. And it's not something I'm working on right now, but it's something I've worked on in the past, and I think is important for sure.
I think the efficiency is pretty important, and it's good to see how much progress is being made on that front in the last 10 years or so. The whole world got pretty hoggish when it came to electricity in the last 20, 30 years, and there's been a lot of improvements lately. But I think the real problem at the end of the day isn't so much our efficiency as much as having a
zombie
source
apocalypse.
of energy that doesn't cause the problems that our current source of energy is causing. With our fossil fuels that we're using for most of our energy now, it's essentially like your grand aunt and Emma or somebody died and left you $1 million, and you decided that instead of putting it in the bank and living off the interest, you're going to buy everybody in the city a 6-pack of beer. That's the basic way that we're treating this gift that history has given us, the history of our planet. And we're burning it up on beer instead of leaving it where it is and keeping it there as a backup plan and taking advantage of the place where that energy really came from, which is our star, soul. Energy in life is all about heat differentials, and we have a nice heat differential between us and our star, and we should take full advantage of that because all of the other energies that we have available to us are from that originally, or from energy that's left over from large rocks hitting us a couple billion years ago. So, it's very important to realize where energy comes from and how to most effectively tap into the original sources rather than getting it, the concentrated historical, it just happened to happen that way. Yeah, that's not necessarily the best thing to focus on because it's finite. We have more energy than we know what to do with. We just need to find good ways to tap into it.
This public service announcement brought to you by Toymakers.
So on that note, has anyone given serious thought to how we can utilize zombies as a renewable power source?
Yeah, there's been a few people.
Treadmills.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just hang some rotting meat in front of them on a treadmill and just have them walk on it just forever.
On an early episode, someone suggested that they take Penn Station and they just replace the floor with piezoelectric material and let zombies just wander around in there all day.
Yep.
Penn Station is a nightmare.
I think that would make it more of a nightmare.
Yeah. So there's been
there's a funny candidate up on New Hampshire somewhere up there.
Vermin Supreme.
He's suggesting zombies as a solution to the energy crisis.
Yeah. I'm really not quite sure how he plans on it.
It's a topic that comes up every so often, how to use zombies as a power source.
Yeah. But we only have a little bit of time left. Jesus Christ. Because, you've got like that many projects to talk about. I'm sure we haven't touched on like half of the things.
I haven't even known.
I know.
Wait, I have 2 more things I want to mention.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I've got 2 more. So they're both hackathon projects.
Okay.
One of them is I was at Facebook New York City headquarters last week for a 24-hour hackathon, and you can watch the video of it online. So a friend of mine and me, the same guy who I did the Helio Watcher with, actually. We came in and we were like, okay, everyone's going to make a website. We have 24 hours. You got to make something really cool. We're like, we're going to put Facebook inside of an actual book. So we went home. We got 2 duffel bags full of all the electronics we owned, came back, bought the largest book we could find, hollowed it out, filled it up with like LCD screens, a wireless module, Arduino, all kinds of lights and all kinds of good buttons and stuff like that. And then wrote a script on a remote computer that pulls down Facebook and formats it to display it on screens inside of a book. So like you open a book, it connects to your Facebook account, and it displays all your info, and you can just tap through and it'll expand them. You can like turn the pages. You can kind of simulate turning the page of a book, and the accelerometer picks it up and advances through your news feed. I know you guys like have sworn off Facebook, but for everyone else who uses it,
that's pretty fun.
It's really fun. The idea was like go sit in the park, make it look like you're intelligent reading a book, but you're actually stalking people on Facebook. So that was really fun.
Nice.
People should watch that video. It's on my YouTube and on my website. And then there's another one. I actually haven't put a video up of it yet because a friend of mine filmed it and his like hard drive crashed, so he's in the middle of recovering the footage. But this was actually in the pop shop. We had a hackathon in the pop shop that we won. Not a conflict of interest because I didn't host it. We had an external company host it just in the space. But we made, me and two other friends, we turned the table into like a gigantic touch interface. So we had a webcam that was being used for security reasons, and we tapped into the feed, and we could like put stuff, you just put stuff in certain like hotspots on the table, and the camera picks up on it and uses it to control all the lights in the shop and talk over our web server that we made to a remote computer that controls the music. And then there's a panic button on the wall that you can hit the panic button. I mean, it's not actually a button. It's just a piece of paper on the wall, but the camera picks up when your hand is over.
Oh, funny.
And so you hit a button on the wall, and it'll play an audio clip of like me telling you to do something when you're panicked. So it'll either say like pivot or like find a new idea or regroup. It's supposed to be like motivational.
That's cool.
There's like a very crappy video of it up online that someone else took, but I'm putting up a better one soon, hopefully. But
dude,
those are like the two
like
other fun things I've done.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's super fun, and each one was only 24 hours.
Which is impressive.
Can I just say, like, have either of you guys participated in a hackathon?
No, but we've talked to a lot of organizers, so yeah.
You have to. It's so much fun, and especially so for both of the ones that I've done so far, I was the only one doing hardware in a group of people designing websites and stuff. The judges just always love it when you do hardware because it's so like tangible and everyone else is like, how the hell did you do that in 24 hours?
Right.
And it usually looks like crap, but it doesn't matter because it's really cool. So
like very cool.
Okay, sorry for the tangent.
No, you're fine. I like that panic button thing.
To bring that up this Monday, we're going to have some folks over for the first live studio
Rochester hackathon.
The live studio recording of ZombieTech that's going to be here in the studio Monday. We're going to have an audience and everything.
Oh man! So
that might be a good opportunity to sort of.
Well, so what you should do is just extend it by 23 hours, lock everyone in your house, buy some pizza, and then at the end you can let the interwebs judge who makes the best thing.
So for those of you who are coming to that, if you see me come at you with a roll of duct tape, don't worry, it'll be okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that. I'm too nice. But now we have the two actual questions, and you've answered these before.
Yeah, so we don't need to do that. No, unless he's got some edits for his previous answers. We only have 2 minutes.
I know. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
3 tools you would bring to your zombie apocalypse bunker because you got an extra duffel bag.
You have the best answer out of anybody so far.
I know. I totally edit it. I don't remember exactly what I said. I remember I said 3D printer. I'm pretty sure I said corn. And what was the third one? Was it do you remember? Was it like it was toolbox or something? I had a very good reasoning for all the things.
Yeah, excellent reasoning. It's like a 3D printer with seeds stuffed in the 3D printer.
Oh, right. There's a 3D printer with corn seeds stuffed into the inside of the printer, so I could take them out, grow corn, use it to make PLA that I could then print printer to print more stuff, including biodegradable pots to hold more plants.
Right.
And then there was I had like 2 other things. I'm pretty sure soldering iron was on there because like it has to be.
Right.
And what was the other one?
I don't know. It's been a very long time.
But that's okay. Let's say we're going from a clean slate.
Okay.
Assume we have your 3D printer and a whole bunch of seeds and corn.
Okay.
Right.
So now it's the replicator though, because it's come out since the last. Okay. So we've got an upgrade in there.
And he even knows the electronics better on this one.
Because he made them.
Okay. So 2 other things. Let's see.
He's like looking around his room.
He did it last time too. I remember that.
You can hear it, right? You can hear me looking around my room, trying to figure out what the hell from around here I want. Oh, I'm pretty sure I said this last time too. Duct tape. I really need duct tape.
Okay, all right. We'll do duct tape.
You guys you're still doing like the toolbox of things counts as like one item?
Yeah.
I tried to keep her from doing that so much.
I'm not allowed to mention that caveat.
Okay.
But it exists, and so okay. Yes.
Let's see. So what else? What's something really useful that I can use?
I'm always surprised because even our regular listeners who come on, they always get like surprised by this question.
Yeah, no, I've got a good one.
Okay.
Bamboo.
Bamboo.
That is a pretty good one.
Dude, that is a very good one.
Okay, first off, you can eat bamboo.
Yeah.
And it's a good source of fiber. And the other thing is, it grows like a freaking weed. I mean, it is a weed, I think. So it grows in
grass. Yeah.
And it's an excellent, extremely strong building material for shelters. And really hard to break through if you're a zombie and trying to get in.
True.
I doubt they could even gnaw their way through a fully grown piece of bamboo. So yeah, I think in addition to, I think I'd say 3D printer filled with corn seeds. I guess I'm gonna change duct tape to toolbox that include duct tape, etc. Because everyone has to do that, right? And then I can also use the toolbox as a blunt force weapon.
Right.
And the last thing is gonna be bamboo, and bamboo can also make an excellent weapon. I can print a knife out with the replicator, and then shave it into a nice point and use it to stab zombies.
You're right. We could have like pits with like those stake things.
Oh yeah, you have pits,
right?
With, the bamboo stake sticking out of it. Yeah, the possibilities are endless here.
Oh.
And then when you kill the zombies with the bamboo stakes, you can make biofuel out of the dead zombies.
Oh, gross.
Right?
Totally true.
Totally disgusting.
Totally disgusting.
Okay, wait. I'm changing. I'm replacing the toolbox with an anaerobic digester, which can take zombie corpses.
Okay. Yes.
It can take zombie corpses and do two things. One, it can make fertilizer to grow the bamboo in the corn. And although it might be zombie corn, I don't know how that works.
Great.
And you can also use it to make biogas that you can use as an energy source.
Wow.
So that's what I'm going to go with, because someone else will bring tools. I'll count on someone else to do that.
Right.
So after our last show, we sort of introduced this idea that Jeremy was responsible for the zombie apocalypse thanks to mutating corn, becoming zombie corn. And we didn't know exactly how that would have happened, but now he's boiling down zombies to make fertilizer for his corn. I think we got a better idea.
I kind of feel like a little dirty. I bought the shirt, but yeah, you saw it. I bought the shirt. I bought an awesome corn shirt. You guys should include a link to a photo of that.
I should. It's totally awesome.
It's pretty spectacularly epic.
It's got like a zombie farmer on a tractor, like saying grains.
So for you listeners who are super dorky and you think that the last little bit here was funny, you should definitely check out the song that we wrote and produced about Jeremy causing the zombie apocalypse.
Can I say my mom loves the song?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we use bamboo here a lot, so we can totally get behind the bamboo thing.
Yeah, cool.
The new floors that'll be going in the studio here are bamboo, and we eat bamboo shoots, and
they're so good.
We have bamboo plants in the house for making the oxygen for the not dying.
Yeah, for the not dying.
Is your house completely airtight otherwise?
No.
I was gonna say that'd be pretty impressive if you needed bamboo in your house in order to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, impressively tight house, safe from zombies.
All right, well, we're over time, of course.
Sadness. Wait, can we do one more? That last one?
No, gonna cut you people off.
Cut me off.
Yeah, because when I have to remaster all of these for hour slots to put them on a 24/7 radio station, it's gonna be really hard if they're too long.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
So, thank you for joining us this week, Jeremy.
And
my pleasure.
And you can find all of Jeremy's stuff on jeremyblum.com, BLUM. And on Twitter, your handle is SciGuy14.
14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as well as on YouTube, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's got a lot of good videos up there.
Yes.
So be sure to check that out.
Go watch my videos, but get some popcorn first because some of them are pretty long.
All right. That's it for this week. We'll see you guys next Thursday. You can download the show or subscribe to the RSS feed at ZombieTech.tv. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.